This is my first official vlog post. It's worth saying I was going to write a blog. Fucking dog. First official vlog post. It's worth saying I was going to write a blog like every other normal person, but decided I'm an awful writer and figured I'd just stick with my strength of speaking. So this post is going to be about introducing change into your life so that you can live a more fulfilling life. This whole idea sprouted from a Humans of New York picture, as well as a social media post from one of our good friends, and which sprouted a conversation I had with Andy about our perception of time. We talked about how we perceive time and change in seasons, change in career paths, change in number of wrinkles on our face, the amount of hair on our head, one I'm particularly self-conscious about. So we got to talking and thinking, if you introduce more change into your life, can you create more time by changing your perception of time? I know that sounds kind of confusing, so I'll say that again. If you introduce more change into your life, can you create more time by changing your perception of it? Now, obviously change adds more experiences to your life, which is an obvious benefit. And we've probably all heard Abraham Lincoln's quote, and in the end, it's not the years in your life that count, it's the life in your years. But how can change affect your perception of time and lead to a more fulfilling life? We sort of decided on memory recollection, but let me explain. We judge our lives in part by our memories. At least that's sort of what we talked about. And of course, it'll be easy to think about the big things you accomplished, the family you built, the successful career, the nice house. But those are what I'll call macro level measurements of your life. And I think what makes up a big part of your self-evaluation are the micro level measurements of your life. So the small memories in between that I think can sometimes make the difference in your perception of whether or not you lived a fulfilling life, and also your perception of how long your life was. So at the end of it all, we look back at all our memories and accomplishments and we evaluate ourselves. So obviously you'd want as many memories as possible, right? But we also know how easy it is to forget things. For example, I have no idea what I ate for lunch at all last week. I don't know. I think I ate something. But some of us are more gifted than others. For example, Walker, that guy's a nut. He can remember weird shit from like 6 years ago. But I'm definitely not one of those people. So I need all the help I can get. But to be clear, what I'm talking about here is how we can live more fulfilling lives through better memory recollection by introducing change into our lives. So to begin this conversation, let's talk about generally how we recall memories. And I'm no genius. I really don't know anything about this. It's just my thoughts. So not to say that this is right, but what we kind of boiled it down to is we recall memories by using reference points. For example, the who, when, where, what. For example, when, sort of the temporal. Last year in high school, your senior year, your freshman year, you're going to have memories associated with those temporal reference points. The wheres, so Wisconsin, Cozumel, Mexico, maybe even experiences in your hometown, you're going to have memories that are tied to each of those individual locations. The what's. This list could go on and on forever, but it's the activities, right? Maybe it's football, maybe it's piano lessons, marathon training, marathon competing. There's so many things that could go into that list. The who's, people, right? So you're going to have memories that are also associated with specific people as well. We started saying that these reference points were sort of like using file cabinets. We file away our memories into these categories, right? And the more specific the file, the more memories you should be able to recall. For example, when I ask you your favorite memories from college or high school, you might come up with 3 or 4. Then I might ask you, what's your favorite memory from freshman year homecoming? And some memories might begin to surface you hadn't originally considered. I might also ask you questions about a specific person, right? And as you think about that person, you're going to begin to recall memories that you might not have originally had at the top of your mind. And I might also extend that by asking you a memory of a specific person during a specific activity, say football, say work. Again, you're going to have memories surface that you really didn't know or didn't know that you remembered. My point is, as you use these unique classifiers, you might be able to surprise yourself with how much you can actually remember. And this all seems pretty obvious, really, but I think a lot of people sabotage their ability to file away memories by living a life of monotony. As human beings, we prefer to be comfortable. We like to stay in areas that are safe and familiar to us. And because of this, it's dangerously easy to keep the same job, live in the same place, do the same things day in and day out, ultimately dragging you into this meaningless mush of today, yesterday, and 3 years ago. Now, there's a lot of problems with this, in my opinion, but the problem here is that you are limiting the amount of filing cabinets you have access to. The bigger the cabinet, the harder to find one file, right? And we're talking about specifically those reference points of those who's, those what's, whens, and wheres. That being said, it's important to say monotony is not inherently bad. It's not like you got to wipe it all out of your life. Example, morning routines. There's plenty of areas. As humans, we need a little bit of stability. So don't feel bad if you do have monotony. But this monotony, it can apply to so many different things, from your friendships, from your work, what you do in your free time, hell, even your vacations. Now, if you're living a semi-monotonous life, and I asked you if you had any memories from this time last year, what would you say? It might take you some time, but I'm sure you could come up with a couple things. And I'm also guilty of this. I was still in college, so memories specifically in the filing cabinet of when are hard to come by. So what I'm here to say is it's a good idea for everyone to introduce at least a little bit of change into their lives to assist their memory recollection and ultimately maybe even affecting your perception of time. So what do I mean by change, right? Change can come from all sorts of things, and what's really exciting is that it doesn't have to be something drastic, which makes it possible for most anyone to do. Some examples are vacation, and I know a lot of people like to go to vacation in the same place every single year, but the problem with that is that as time goes by, as you go to that place 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times because it's safe, it's comfortable, you like it, they're all going to mesh into the same experience, and it'll be much harder to recall specific memories. Another example, enroll in a class, learn something new, learn an instrument, already know one, learn another. Enroll in a gym. If you're already enrolled in a gym, enroll in a different type of physical activity. Maybe yoga, Pilates, kickboxing. Maybe go to different restaurants every week. Strive for that promotion. Or if a promotion's out of reach, ask to be in a different role, doing different things, having a different experience. Again, introducing that change. Maybe you can move to a different part of town. And that's not saying, move across the world. It's just saying move to a different part of town. You're going to be able to associate more memories with a different place. Again, avoiding that mesh of unrecognizable memories, unlocatable memories, maybe is what I'll say. This is going to sound kind of weird, but you could have a kid, right? So that sounds kind of weird, but the thing about that is having a kid is one of the biggest changes you can experience in your life, as every parent that's watching this knows. And what's unique about that is your kid from 0 to 3 there's going to be change in your life. From 4 to 6, there's going to be change. From 7 to 9, there's going to be change. And so their whole life, you're going to be bombarded with this change, helping you with that memory recollection. You could travel, like what I'm doing right now. People fit into this equation as well. The more people you meet, the more people you know, the more memories you're going to be able to recall about those individual people. And some examples for me, I know I just talked about struggling with memories, some memories in college, but most of the memories I have from college are when I took a risk, introduced a change, or experienced something new. So introducing change, what I'm trying to say is introducing change may be able to help you recall more memories by increasing the number of filing cabinets you have to pull from. And if you're able to recall more memories, I'm suggesting that it may affect your perception of time in a way that adds more time to your life. Long story short, introduce change, take risks, and experience new things. Something you've probably been hearing all your life anyway, so why listen now to this kid, 23 years old, who doesn't actually know anything about life? As I've mentioned, doing this can literally add time to your life, maybe, and I'm not telling you to climb Mount Everest or move to South Africa for a year, but I'm also not telling you that going to a different restaurant every other week is sufficient either. Applebee's and Carlos O'Kelly's are practically the same thing. Obviously, the level of change one can handle is going to differ for everybody, but it's important to note that change should never really be 100% comfortable. And if you haven't started doing these things to introduce change into your life yet, it's possible you never will. But here's to hoping this video made a difference. Thanks for watching. Bye.